We're here at the Laguna Woods History Center. It's April 1st, 2017. Lee Bevilacqua is here with us. My first question for you is, can you please share about being born in New York in 1917?
Do I?
Would you please share about being born in New York in the year 1917?
Yes, I love New York City. My parents really were from Italy. They were immigrants, and they landed in New York City, and that's how I was born there. But I didn't live there very long. I moved, subsequently they moved to New Jersey.
And what was New Jersey like those early years?
Very nice. I lived there about, 50, 60 years.
And what was it like growing up in an Italian household during this era? Would you share about growing up in an Italian household during these years?
Well, it was kind of exciting. My parents, my mother had a tutor to teach her English because she couldn't speak English, and she went into business in a fruit and vegetable store, and that's where I ate a lot of vegetables and fruits. No. But it was interesting, yeah.
And your parents had a fruit and vegetable operation, so you went to the city, correct, to buy produce?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I used to go before school. When I was in high school, I used to go to the market there and bring the produce back and put it in containers to make it look very nice in the windows, you know.
Lovely. And you had other occupations in the city. Would you share a little bit more about maybe your high school years, your college years?
Well, after high school, I worked in New York City for many years, yes. Doing various jobs, secretary and so forth, yeah. I worked in New York City many years. I love New York City.
And then the war happens, of course. This is all during the war years.
This was before the war.
This is before the war, okay.
Well, when we went into war, I felt that I should contribute something, so I decided to join the Marine Corps. It seemed like a smaller unit. That's why I joined it. And I worked in Quantico with the commandant there, doing various jobs. One of my last jobs I liked very much is when we were mustering out soldiers when they were coming back from the war, from the Iwo Jima and so forth. Yes.
And what was the feeling of the nation like at that time? What did the nation feel like during war? Was there a feeling it evoked?
Well, we were on rationing, and I think there was a feeling of cooperation. I think the women joined, helping, working in the industries, and I felt there was quite camaraderie and,
And you certainly helped the war effort by serving your country. So what was your unit like? What were some of the jobs that you were assigned?
One of the jobs was working for the commandant there in the office there. And then the second job was mustering out that's all.
Neat. And then eventually you worked for Mobay, a Monsanto and Bayer company in the 50s.
Yes.
So would you share about your various positions in this company?
Well, Mobay was a company that was called, it was Monsanto and Bayer. They called it Mobay. I started typing there, and then I went to be a secretary, and then I was transferred to their executive offices in Pittsburgh to be a buyer. So I bought chemicals for making dyestuffs and things like that.
And you retired in 1982.
Yes.
And you received awards and honors for your contributions from what we've read. So
Here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I volunteered in the senior center, taking cash, being a cashier. I volunteered at the stables, in the office, doing the telephone, and managing the summer picnics there. And I volunteered for many years for TV6,
Yes.
doing their programming.
Before this, I'm going to take you back just before we're going to get to these questions, but I wanted to ask you how you moved here. So you knew Ted Martin from a purchasing agents meeting. So would you share about how you met and that's how you came to California? So we will
okay.
discuss your contributions.
Yes, I was at a purchasing management meeting, and there was a man there who said, a gentleman said, who will volunteer to do this particular job? And I said, I will. So we worked together, and this man was from California, and I was a widow at the time. And I decided when I retired from Bayer to move out to California. And that's how I got here. Romance brought me here.
And this is 1982 is your first visit to California, correct? I think it was around there. And your move in 1984?
About in 84 or something.
Okay. So you arrive at Leisure World at this time. What did you know about it prior to coming?
I knew nothing about it. This gentleman and I decided to ride around and look at places to buy, and we decided to look at this place, and we bought a place together here. Yes.
And where did you move first? Where did you move to? Which community? In
Right here.
Just exactly.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the only place I lived in California.
Okay.
I didn't live anywhere else.
Okay. And did you at the time know about the founder, Ross Cortese, and the Rossmore Corporation when you moved here? Were you aware of who he was as a founder, about Ross?
Oh, yes.
You do?
Yes.
You did know?
Yes, because in New Jersey there was a similar place there.
And did any of your relatives or friends know people who lived in New Jersey? The Rossmore Corporation built there, or you just heard about it?
Well, I had a sister and a brother who lived in the Rossmore. Yes.
In Jersey?
In New Jersey.
New Jersey. And then your sister eventually moves here, correct?
When I moved here, she moved here.
Okay.
Because she was also a widow. Yeah.
Okay. In about the same year and time?
Yes.
Okay.
All at the same time, yes.
Okay.
Because we had the one mover to us.
Easier together.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you remember her thoughts? Because I know you and your sister still are actively.
Yes. Oh, yes. She became very active here.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's the only way to. If you're active, you really enjoy what you're doing,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and you get to know the place.
Mhm.
And I think I know this place very well.
Sure.
Yeah.
You've shared with us a little bit about some of your pastimes and some of the amenities through the club, But specifically, would you share with our listeners about some of the things that you do living here? You had mentioned bridge and needlepoint. Would you share a little bit about that, your pastimes?
Oh, well, I used to do a lot of needlepoint when I was looking at TV. And I have a lot of it around the house also. Very nice. Like they're from like a Degas, the Dancing Girls, and a Renoir, all a needlepoint, and they're very nice. In fact, I have a needlepoint there. You saw that?
Yes, you do. Lovely.
Yeah.
And you took lessons, bridge lessons here, is that
I
correct?
took bridge
Okay.
lessons, and I took the beginners twice. I was just dumb. We made a lot of friends through that because we both took bridge and we played bridge a lot.
Great.
So we made a lot of friends there.
Do you enjoy the clubhouse and some of the activities surrounding them?
Well, we did a lot of, I did some volunteer at the film club, and we enjoyed a lot of the plays and the concerts and things like that. We really utilized this place a lot, I think.
Sure. And then you became very involved as a volunteer. So we want to shift into that session of your life of becoming very active, so TV6. Would you share about programming for them, what your role has been
Well, it was
for
really
15
not very.
years?
I would go once a week, and I would go Monday, and I would find out who was going to be there on Tuesday, and take all that. And then write, you know how when you see these people on TV, they have a sheet of paper in front of them, and that's what I did. I just typed that up. And I enjoyed working there. And then,
And you knew Rob Merritt?
yes,
Okay. On
Yes.
your relationship with him?
yes.
Uh-huh.
Mostly was Bob Merritt, that's right. And then now Paul, you know Paul.
Yes.
He's great, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you saw the channel change, I'm sure. So what changes did you see at Channel 6, having worked there for 15 years, volunteered for that organization? Any significant changes?
Well, I think, yeah. It's hard to say. They're really, I notice the changes now is that they seem to have more movies. We used to have movies once a week on Monday, and now I notice they have it quite often.
Mm-hmm.
That's a change that I've noticed.
Sure.
Movies.
And you also were the cashier at the senior center.
Yes.
So would you share for our listeners what that is?
I just used to sit at the desk and collect the money. That's all.
For the meals? This
Yes,
is
for the
during
meals,
uh-huh,
yes.
Okay. And you also were involved with the Saddle Club, and you did, it said office work and reservation chair for that organization.
Yes. And I used to do in summer they had picnics, and we used to buy, people used to bring their own meat to put on the coals, but they have to bring their own vegetables and things like that. Yeah.
And this is at the Equestrian Club, is that correct? They
Yes.
met at the center?
Yes.
The Equestrian Center, okay.
Yes.
Were you ever active with those, with the Equestrian Center itself? Did you ever like to do horseback riding?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
My sister and I took horseback riding lessons. We never drove in our life. And here we were about 65 or whatever, and we get on a horse, and it seemed monumental. But we did. we succeeded.
Absolutely.
We went around the place a little bit.
What was the feeling like?
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
And it must have been natural to do that, given
Yes.
that they
Have you ever been on a?
Yes.
Horse?
It's magnificent.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a feeling. And then it says here that you've done work cashiering with Kiwanis Club and other organizations such as Meals on Wheels,
Yes.
eBell, membership chair for World on Film. So a lot of different groups. And then New Owners Orientation Program. Would you share about your contributions to the New Owners Program?
Which?
The New Owners Orientation Program. Would you share about
Yeah.
what your contributions were there?
Really, I don't think I contributed
No,
there.
just maybe
No.
some things here and there. Okay. The most significant thing, of course, has been your work here at the History Center. So would you share about your involvement, joining as a trustee and your role here at the History Center?
Well, I started here at taking telephone messages, so forth. And then I got involved with doing the club storage, which was each year sending out bills to the various clubs. We have about 200 clubs here. And we would I would send out invoices for them to pay up. And it was a job because a lot of them didn't pay up quickly and you'd have to make calls and things like that. So that took a lot of time, yes. And I'd start at the end of January and be about 4 months before you'd get it all done. But we would get the...
Would you share about what you provide to these clubs? So they rent space, correct, in the archive? To store their club materials? That's the partnership?
Yes, that's the club
Mhm.
storage out
Mhm.
there, yeah.
Mhm. So like they store club minutes and photos from events. What do they typically give to you to store? What kind of things are the clubs giving to you to hold on
what
to?
kind of things would
Uh-huh.
they store?
What are they giving?
Well, I noticed that they stored a lot of information about events that they presented. For instance, if they had a dance, they would store that and the photos, and whatever activities the clubs had, they would store it here. And most clubs at that time had an historian, and the historian would bring that stuff into the place here, and yeah. They don't seem to have historians anymore.
No, not as much.
Yeah.
And of course, you are the essential part of the Digitization Project.
The digitizing that we're doing now.
Can you share about that?
Yes, we're doing that. I do it twice a week, and I understand that we only have about 2 years left to do, which is great.
And this is primary newspapers?
It's, we take the globe and we put it on a machine and transfer it to the computer. And that's what it is, you know. And we've done many years of it. So now as I said, we only have about 2 more years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Myra Nevin just interviewed with us.
Yes.
So that's wonderful because that's protecting her contributions, her years of riding with her
Yes.
team. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
amazing.
Well, I don't know which year, about year 2003 or something like that, I was Leisure Worlder of the Month.
Yes.
I think you knew that. Yeah.
Will you share about that honor? So of course you were, that's a remarkable accomplishment. So March 1st, 2006, we found that you were the
Oh, was it March 1st, 2000?
Leisure Worlder of the Month. What was that like? What was it like being named?
It was an honor, really. I never expected to be honored with, someone brought me roses that day, you know, a nice bouquet of red roses. And I don't know, what else can you say?
They took a formal picture, you had a ceremony, from what I understand.
Yes.
They presented you.
Various people spoke in my behalf. I'm trying to think. Bob Ring spoke for me, and that's when he called me a worker bee. And the one on TV, you just, what's his name?
Rob Merritt?
Rob Merritt spoke for me. Bob Ring, Bob Merritt.
Wow.
Who else? And some other person, I don't remember.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they gather artifacts
Yes.
on your life. So articles written about you throughout your lifetime, and those are stored in the archive as well.
Yes.
So you've made history, and you've become part of history. So
Yes.
that's wonderful. So, of course, that's quite the honor to be acknowledged. Former Golden Rain Director Earl Donaldson and fellow California Club member said that the organization frequently benefited from her care and concern. Her direct quote is, "She's always so reliable. Anything she says she'll do, and that does even more than
Isn't
her
that
heart."
nice?
Yeah. That's quite a statement. And
Yes, I remember
and
Earl.
how lovely. So you also did volunteer work, from what I understand, for Assembly DeVore. Would you share about
Oh, yes,
how
I
you
forgot all
did
about
this?
him.
Would you share a bit?
Yeah, I was on the second floor of the community building there. Yeah. And DeVore, yes, I forgot what I did. Mostly take calls for him and relay the messages to him. That's all.
Neat. That's the essential part of serving the community.
Yes.
He needs to be in tune. So,
Yeah.
was that your first time becoming active with politics in particular?
Yes,
Okay.
I was never active in politics.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, of course, when Bob Ring is pursuing Cityhood, you took an active role in calling
Yes.
residents. So
We,
share about
a
that.
group of us got together and we made calls during the evening, because that was the time that you could get people at home, 6 and 7, 8 o'clock. And we would call in telling them about
Like maybe El Toro Base a bit?
I'm
Was it
sorry.
about El Toro Base and the airport issue? Is it about this, or?
no,
no?
nothing to do with El
No.
Toro Base,
Okay.
no. It was everything to promote Cityhood.
Cityhood, okay.
We were just, there was a group of us calling to promote Cityhood.
Okay. And what was the tone of the community? What were they telling you as you called them?
Well, I was surprised. There were a few dissenting people that I was shocked at. As a whole, they all agreed to go into cityhood. We had a vote for that, you know that.
What do you remember about the vote? Were you at City Hall at the time, or watching live on TV? Where were you when the vote was being?
I don't remember.
No.
It was the year 2000.
Okay,
Yeah, I should remember.
sure.
Yeah.
What was the feeling? So of course it happened. What did the area do to celebrate?
Well,
that?
most people were very happy
Uh-huh.
about we had enough talented people here really to run this place, because most of the retirees here are very talented.
Mhm.
You know. They come from various backgrounds,
Excellent. And then it's incorporated, and then it's renamed Laguna Woods Village in 2005.
Yes.
So do you remember that happening and just the change in name? What did that feel like?
There was a poll out for that, and that was the predominant name.
And were you involved with any other political
No.
pursuits? So after Cityhood, more involvement maybe at the History Center,
No.
or did you?
At City Hall, I wouldn't say it was political.
Mm-mm.
You just did your work
Sure.
there. I did some, trying to think of what work I did there, but I can't.
Okay. And then the 50th anniversary just happened in 2014.
Yes.
And the History Center had the book issued and celebrations followed. How did you celebrate this with your community for the 50th anniversary?
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
I said.
Did you do maybe the book signing events? Were you present for those with Bob Ring and others? And
Well, when I sat at the desk there, I would promote the book and try to sell as many as I could, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So these are just at the celebration or other community events? You're representing the History Center selling the book, or? So it's many events you would go to tell people about the History Center? Like maybe fairs and maybe other places, so maybe other clubs? Did you present?
Well, we had someone, I think one of the presidents went to various clubs and tried to promote it there. Yes, I remember that part. Yeah.
Okay. And as a trustee, you certainly played a role on this board. So you've seen different presidents run this organization. So
Yeah.
who have you worked with over the years? So of course,
Here?
yes. Would you share about them?
Mostly with was Bob Ring.
Uh-huh.
Most of the time it was with Bob Ring.
Sure.
And now with
With Dean.
Dean.
Uh-huh.
So it's the only two people I work
Okay,
with here.
great.
Yeah.
And what do you hope the History Center accomplishes in the future?
I think they've gone a long way, really. They're really on top of everything. I don't know how to say this, but I've gone to other history centers and they were in very poor condition, not as up to date as this is. And Dean has done a lot more to bring this up to date, really.
And you have sponsors now, and it sounds like other ways to
We
promote.
did for a while, and I don't know whether we have any more now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the center is evolving like any organization. So do you have any goals for them for the future? Is there anything you hope they can do
No.
as an organization?
No.
Just kind of maybe do as they do
Yeah,
at
no.
the moment.
They have a nice place here, though, don't they?
Sure.
Very nice.
Their
I don't know if
archive.
you've ever been to any other history centers, have you?
Yes.
Do you
This is
see?
really an impressive scale
it?
how they
Did
operate.
you see that?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Especially the archive, having it in a
Exactly.
temperature-controlled environment, reaching to the community. I think the clubs certainly benefit from that.
Sure.
But what I'm always amazed is the digitization of your artifacts. So especially why you're here is to reflect upon your contributions, because that's usually the last stage for people's programs is to digitize, and the fact that you're involved with that's remarkable.
Good.
So good work being done.
Good.
So
Yes.
maybe it will teach other organizations.
Yes.
You know, so
I thought we've gone a long way since I've been here, too.
it's great. And then of course you have social activities here. So is there any highlight of special events that you've had during your meetings and general
Well,
events? Is there
like,
anything?
for instance, when Bob Ring left, we had a party for him. Or Norma Nevins.
Uh-huh.
So whenever anyone who was active here, we'd have a little party for them, celebration.
Sure.
Yeah. The last one was Bob Rings.
It's neat.
Yeah.
I want to ask you more about being a resident here. So, would you have lived anywhere else during your last series of years that you lived here? Would you think about, you've done some traveling, so I do want to ask you about that. So, of course, in your retirement, you've traveled a lot of places. So let's
Yes.
start there. Would you tell us where you've gone since you've retired?
When we lived here, we felt that we didn't have to take care of a house or grounds. Each year, we would take a trip. One year, we would go to Italy, Europe, and then another year, we went to Asia, and then we went to Africa, another year, South America, and so forth. So each year, we took a trip.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, we both participated in a lot of activities here. So we just loved it here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what is there not to like?
Sure.
You know?
Have you ever imagined yourself living anywhere else that you've been? Is there, or you feel this has been the perfect place for you?
No, I think this is the perfect place
Yeah.
for us. Good climate, California, you know.
Yeah, share about your coastal shift. So you had mentioned that from New Jersey coastline to California, you live in a beach
Well,
community. Beach
They're
area,
similar
right?
because they're both long.
Uh-huh.
New Jersey has the mountains. California has the mountains. New Jersey has beautiful beaches. And California has beaches. So whenever I look at them both, I think how similar they are. You know,
How neat.
isn't it surprising?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I would expect family from back there had visited you here. So what did they think about Leisure World at the time? What did they say when they came to visit you?
Oh, they all like it, yes,
Sure.
yes.
Neat.
Have you ever, you've been around here, haven't you?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
It's lovely. It's well maintained.
Isn't it?
Yeah, amazing. Well planned.
Yes.
Master planned community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything about the history of this community that strikes you as interesting? So, of course, Ross Cortese had such a great plan, and of course, you're aware of the
He
history.
really took
so-
care, thought of everything, really did.
Yeah.
I really, imagine, we have 5 swimming pools.
Mhm.
Who would think of that, you know? And now I understand that they have pinball playing or something like that. I
Like
don't
an
know.
arcade or something like
Yeah.
to gather. Okay.
Yeah, they have
Wow. And then bowling. I understand.
bowling, and
Yeah.
they have table tennis,
Oh.
regular tennis,
Golf.
golfing,
Of course. Yeah.
and they have tournaments. And what is there they don't have? I don't know.
Mhm. In all your clubs, so if you don't have one, from what I understand, the community can create its own, correct? So a resident can organize a new group or an activity.
Yes,
So, okay.
yes.
Do you think there are more clubs today than they were at the beginning? So you've seen all the archive side of things.
Yes.
Do you know if there's any change with that?
No, I don't think there's more. There's some of it going by the wayside because the younger people come in and not interested in some of those other clubs. I was trying to think. We had a women's club, and that went by the wayside. No,
Huh.
I don't think it's. They're changing because now that we're having the young boomers come in, they've changed a lot, which is good. Then we have the computer club, which is great. So it really changes.
Mhm.
With, yeah.
And then the History Center has worked with the Video Club. Have you been involved with that project at all? With the Video Club?
No,
No?
no. Yes, it's.
And then when you mentioned the Women's Club, were you active in that?
No,
No?
no. I was not too much of a joiner with clubs
Sure.
because I was volunteering and then traveling,
Uh-huh.
so I was never a club person.
Sure.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, a lot of the community gardens, is that something that you do yourself? A lot of gardening?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't do any gardening.
Or the arts and craft rooms? I know you do art, but I was wondering if you made use of those rooms
No.
on site. Okay, all
No.
independent.
No.
Okay.
I'm not artistic.
Okay. So they did the third Leisure World Community Survey in November 2004, looking at all the programs and wanting to know demographics. So is there any changes in demographics that you see right now with people moving in? And
I think there are younger people moving in, and I think that they seem to want to do different things, which is fine.
what are their interests, do you think, that are different?
Well, they have a club called Boomers. Yeah, you know that.
Uh-huh.
And then I understand they do this pickleballing and tennis clubs and, things like that. Yeah, they're quite active.
And they're starting to attend your functions, I understand here. They're starting to get involved with the History Center, is that correct?
No.
No.
We're trying to get people involved in the History Center, but that's difficult because everyone seems to want to be busy,
Mhm.
and they choose their clubs, or they choose like we used to go swimming every day, or So,
So
and
are
I
they-
think history clubs is last in there.
Hmm. So, from what I hear, you're doing engagement with Channel 6 News has a local feature. So, of course, recently the History Center was featured on that. So, you're using some of the tools to get the message out into the community, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you find that those things are starting to work with?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
they will eventually, yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Sure. And are there any other tools that you use, like newsletters to the community, or maybe through the newspaper? Do you advertise that you
No.
know of? Okay.
Although Dean said he was going to advertise, I didn't follow that up.
Okay. And then with new residents, their orientation, correct, is coming here with a tour
Yes, I
So-
see that every Thursday.
every Thursday. Okay.
Yes, I noticed them.
Anything you notice about the people who are looking to move here? Any changes that with the people themselves?
Tell you the
or-
truth, I don't notice. I'm
No.
so absorbed in what I'm doing.
Sure, which is probably for the best, right?
I'm so-
With your projects.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other projects you do with the History Center? So you of course work in the archive. Do you do any other special assignments?
No,
No. Okay.
it's going smoothly.
It is very much so. We want to acknowledge your age. Of course, you are 99 right now, and you'll be turning 100 in 3 months. You share with
Yeah.
us. So can you share about how you feel?
Well, I'm just shocked. I've lived a very busy life. I went to high school and worked after school as an usherette in the theater, and just seemed to be busy all the time. And I think that's contributing to my age, because I never thought about age at all. And suddenly I'm 99, and I'm shocked. But when I look back, I really think it's has to do with a lot of keeping your mind busy. I do puzzles every day, crossword puzzles. So I think that helps a lot. And then, I know the thing that helped a lot here is that I used to walk everywhere I went. I'm not an exercise buff, but I try to walk all the time.
Mm,
I think walking is a great thing.
absolutely.
But if you're in other exercise, that's great too. But I was chicken. The easy thing for me to do was to just walk. So I'd walk to the mall from home, and I'd walk most places, yeah. But I really do think that keeping your mind active is the helping old age. It's the only thing I can think of. You know, my parents died at 76 or 75, so that there's no longevity in the family.
What about your health practice with maybe your eating as a child? Do you
Oh,
think
well,
there's something you contribute
Well,
there?
coming from Italian immigrants, I always was on a diet because I wanted to have a nice figure, you know, when I was younger. But yes, I always ate lots of fruits and vegetables and pasta. I'm a pasta fiend. Do you like pasta?
Love it.
Me too. And Italians cook a lot of vegetables.
Mhm.
I remember as a kid, one dish I remember my mother always made was pasta with broccoli. And I used to love it. Did you ever have pasta with broccoli?
Yeah, it's still delicious. Do you still make these dishes yourself, or do your kids or anybody in your family still make these dishes you're mentioning? Anybody
Yes.
in your family? Yes.
Yes.
Did you tell them how to? Some of the Italian dishes, you train them how to make them?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to make ravioli with my mother. My mother used to make a lot of things, you know, Italian cakes and so forth.
Are there cultural clubs here that celebrate heritage, such as being Italian, or is there anything that you're aware of as
I never
maybe?
thought about that.
Yeah.
Never thought about
Sure.
that really.
No, it's
It's
neat.
just that, like in high school, at the time that I went, all ethnic groups were ostracized. Like my name was Angelina and we were called names, you know, like mafia and things like that. So I anglicized it I tried to be a little more American, and I changed my name after high school to Lee, L-E-E.
Neat.
And now, of course, I'm sorry,
Mm.
because I didn't realize that I come from good heritage, you know.
Mhm.
What background do you have?
We have very diverse.
What?
As Americans, we represent that global experience of German, British, and onward.
Yes, yeah, German, yes.
Primarily with the last
Yeah, I
name.
worked for this German company for years, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I have to ask, because given the context of the time you were born in, the feeling of the Italian community in New York, was there ever a feeling because of war that was just part of the
No.
challenge? It was
no.
never about
But we
that?
were,
The-
but we were segregated like
Okay.
most people were, like the Germans were Germans and the Italians were Italian. We were segregated.
Mm.
And in high school, I think we all had problems like that. Because the United States is I don't know the word, it's a combination of every
Mhm.
nationality.
And coming out west, do you think there's a different mindset about those kind of things? Is that anything that you've considered? Is it the same or different, or any?
I
other
think
opinion?
the East Coast is more segregated, and I think they have more problems in the West Coast. I don't see that problem in the West Coast here. You know, the denigrating of different nationalities. I don't see that. I didn't see that here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you've certainly seen so much change in your lifetime, from as a young girl in New York City to
Yes.
today. And so, reflecting on that, is there something you'd like to share about all those experiences? Anything that we've missed over your almost 100 years of experience? Is there something that you'd like to mention for?
I don't know. I think I've been so busy that suddenly it's 100. I didn't realize that the age was there, you know. I've been blessed with good health and, you know.
Certainly. Maybe your thoughts on technology, would you share? Because you are actively using a high-tech German-made scanner,
Yeah.
from what I understand from Bob Ring.
Well, I
So,
took a class in the high school, local high school here, to learn how to use the internet. Yes, I did that. In the high school down the block.
sure.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts of having seen the evolution of technology? What do you think about all of that?
It's mind-boggling.
Huh.
It certainly is, really. The only problem is that just too much information out there. Just too much.
Mhm.
And I don't know where this technology is going, but when I don't have a computer now because I was hacked. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
It feels terrible for everybody to know what you're doing every minute. Are you on the?
Mhm.
Do you use your phone?
Sure. Yeah. It can feel like you're vulnerable. I think that's
Exactly.
how it feels.
Doesn't it make
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah.
that somebody's there?
Mhm.
Yeah. When my telephone was hacked and I found out it was from people from Vietnam, I thought to myself, gee, I was scared in the house a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be careful.
You do.
I wonder where we're going now.
That's the big question, and so
Yeah.
I think it's always good to see progress and ask these kind of questions
Sure.
and keep people accountable for the technology.
And they
so.
have little kids using.
Right.
They're cute. I saw a little kid using one the other day. I think 6 or 7. And I was shocked.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, gee, and I'm scared of that. Oh,
They're almost born with it, with
Yes.
an iPad in hand. So it's a shift for sure.
Sure.
And
Like-
I've seen the change myself.
Sure.
So, but you are embracing it here, the technology. That's
Sure.
certain. So
oh
we
yes.
commend your work
Sure.
for all your efforts.
Sure.
That's great. Any parting thoughts with just the community or just anything to reflect upon what you've experienced as a resident? Is there anything we missed
Well,
in this?
I haven't had any problems with the residents. I don't know. I think the people that I associate with love it here. So we don't have any derogatory comments to make about it. They're continually changing, of course, which is good. And we're up to date
Mhm.
on a lot of,
I hear it's becoming more diverse too in
Yes.
the population. So
Sure.
you have a more
it is.
multi-ethnic backgrounds, and I think that certainly enriches a community. So, and I'm sure it's being documented with the History Center,
Yeah.
all the change.
Dean is great.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
We're lucky to have him here.
Yes,
Yes,
he's a strong leader.
yes.
So, of course, you work with other trustees, and might anybody you want to recognize that you've worked with over the years?
No, I better
No,
not say
nothing
no.
in particular? Okay, just
Yes.
want to give you an
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yes,
so.
yes, no.
Sure. Well, we that concludes our set of formal questions with you, and so, and we appreciate your time. So if there's anything else you'd like to mention, we want to
No.
keep it open. Okay. So that concludes our interview with you today, and thank you so much
Good, I'm so
for your
glad.
time. We appreciate that.